Merry Christmas. I'm Reverend Carol Johnson, and I am the person at St. Andrews who works with new members and visitors. And so if you are a new member, I'd love to get a chance, or a visitor, I'd love to get a chance to chat with you. And please find me before you leave. Our scripture reading tonight is taken from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 2, verses 1 through 6. After Jesus' birth, which happened in Bethlehem of Judea during the reign of Herod, astrologers from the east arrived in Jerusalem and asked, "Where is the newborn ruler of the Jews? We observed his star at its rising and have come to pay homage." At this news, Herod became greatly disturbed, as did all of Jerusalem. Summoning all the chief priests and religious scholars of the people, he asked them where the Messiah was to be born. "In Bethlehem of Judea," they informed him. "Here is what the prophet has written. And you, Bethlehem, land of Judah, are by no means least among the leaders of Judah, since from you will come a ruler who is to shepherd my people Israel." And our second reading is from Philippians 2, verses 14 through 16. "In everything you do, act without grumbling or arguing. Prove yourself innocent and straightforward, children of God beyond reproach, in the midst of a twisted and depraved generation, among which you shine like stars in the sky, while holding fast to the word of life." These are ancient words from our tradition for your consideration.
Thank you so much for being here. As anybody who's ever been to one of these services knows, because I say it every year, this is my favorite service of the year. Just looking out and seeing so many old friends. Life gets busy and hectic and we get separated, and just to spend time together means the world to me. Christmas is, to me, for mystics, it's the best time of the year, because it's really the one time of the year that I think the theology works for most people. There's nothing about blood and sin and atonement things. It's I think much more cosmic, these stories. Is there anybody here who has ever gone to the beach and you just feel this almost like it's your home, and you feel like you have to take your shoes off and be in the water? Have you ever had an experience with an animal where it felt like it was your extended family? Like you weren't just a human being, you were connected to this other thing. And have you ever looked at the sky and had just kind of a strange sense of home as you looked? Just this, very strange feeling. I believe that's the mystical experience. It's not about magic or just strange things. It's interconnectedness. And I think that the stories of Christmas are wonderful examples of religion that's told almost like fairy tales. But people are able to communicate profound experiences of interconnectedness and depth. The problem is a whole lot of teachers and preachers don't know that tradition. So they tell the fairy tales as though they were historically true. And that leads people further and further away from that sense of connectedness for which I think many of us long. In the story of the shepherds, following the star, the Magi, following the star, you kind of know it's a fairy tale. If you've ever tried to follow a star, has anybody tried to steer your car using? There's no way. To me, the pole star is over the North Pole, but it looks like, it's right over you sometimes. Plus, they're following the star, but they go to the wrong place, right? And they tip off Herod that Jesus has been born. So I don't think the purpose of the story is to teach us magic or say that something magical once happened, but instead to get in touch again with that sense of interconnectedness. These three, scholars, followers of the stars, whatever they were, they were groping. They were looking for something and they couldn't find it. And they had been taught to follow the stars. I don't personally believe in astrology. We have wonderful people here who do. Who knows? Who knows? Astrology isn't any sillier than the atonement theories that I learned in seminary. So, respect. But also, to me, what we're looking for is something that helps us love. If religion doesn't do that, if philosophy doesn't do that, it's not taking us home, right? Religion needs to lead us deeper in our own heart and not hit its own microphone. I once heard the story of a psychology professor who was working with graduate students, and he had them read their horoscopes. And people were basically helped by them. And then later the professor said, well, actually you were reading the horoscope of the person right behind you. The amazing thing is, sometimes any religious approach can work for you if it gets you to look at yourself in a cosmic sense. Sometimes all kinds of different spiritual practices can get us past that kind of personal, where we can't be objective. We're so subjective about our own lives. We're so afraid of some things. We desire other things so much that simply stepping out of that self-centeredness gives us a kind of freedom. Neil deGrasse Tyson. Do y'all know him? If you've ever watched television, you've seen him before. So he's not a Presbyterian. So forget this. No. But he's a mystic in my estimation. Just because you're atheist does not mean you can't be a mystic. Because what it's about is the experience of interconnectedness, not some belief or creed about it. I think this is as beautifully mystical as any Christmas hymn. He says, the atoms of our body are traceable to stars that manufactured them in their cores and exploded these enriched ingredients across our galaxy billions of years ago. For this reason, we are biologically connected to every other living thing in the world. We are chemically connected to all molecules on Earth, and we are atomically connected to all atoms in the universe. We are not figuratively, but literally stardust. Could you do the slides from the Webb telescope? Can we make that our home? I've never seen a stained glass window that has the magnificence of the sky. I don't think it's possible. Can we reframe Christianity that plugs us into our own roots, that doesn't convince us to chase something that happened 2,000 years ago or chase something that happened on the other side of the world, but to go in your own heart and feel your connection to the roots, to the earth, to the animals, and to the cosmos that gave you birth. The astounding thing I think that Jesus was trying to teach is not that he was the light of the world, but that you are the light of the world. In some of the conversations I've found in the ancient world, this idea of light shining out of the darkness was talking about human consciousness. That's a very modern perception, that your consciousness shines out of what looks like a complete void. And so you are the Christmas gift. I think that's being talked about. The ancient world knew this. When you look at a pyramid, that was synchronized to the sky. When you look at Stonehenge, that was tuning people's hearts to the movements of the cosmos. When I got to college, I spent a lot less time reading the books I was supposed to read than reading books, because I've been raised in Dallas, Texas. And I've said this before, but I went to a bookstore, the Book People. Back then it was Grok bookstore, every kind of weird book there was. And I said, I was raised in Dallas, Texas. And I know I messed up, but I don't know how, why, where to even look at getting out of the prisons my mind is in. And thank God, the book clerk gave me the Bhagavad Gita of Hinduism, the Upanishads of Hinduism, and Krishnamurti. There may have been something about monkey kung fu, I don't know. But as I read these Hindu scriptures, I realized, okay, that's what John is saying in the story, because Krishna doesn't represent one individual. Krishna represents all of life, the heart of all of life, the generative principle of the universe. So in the Christmas stories in Hinduism, they don't call them Christmas. The baby Krishna has been accused of eating dirt. The mother asked the baby Krishna to open his mouth so she can see whether he ate dirt or not. And in his mouth, she sees the Milky Way galaxy, the universe. The whole story, the fairy tale of Krishna, is intended to open you up to your own cosmic roots. That's why when you see Krishna's skin, it's blue. It's the sky, children of the sky. Christmas reminds us that that's true of us as well. Jesus had a passion, not that you would just worship him, but you would discover who you are, and that you would blossom, and that you would become a deliverer to the people that you live with. Whatever religion or non-religion you start with can lead you to this revelation. The trick is to make sure it always makes you deeper, it always makes you more loving, and gives you a larger world. Any beginning, if you remember to deepen and to grow and to become more intimate with other beings, it will take you to this Christmas revelation that happens. I want to close with, do we have any old hippies here? Any old hippies? I want to finish with one of my favorite, because Christmas is talking about the homing beacon you have. You're the web of life, but you're also a movement of the cosmos. And even astronomers say you are the way that the universe gets to know itself. And when you look at the world and say yes, you look at the cosmos and say yes, that completes the circle, and the light shines out of the darkness. Close with St. Joni Mitchell. Yeah. If you brought mushrooms, this is the time to. Well, I came upon a child of God, and he was walking along the road. And I asked him, tell me, where are you going? This he told me. I'm going down to Yasker's farm. If you're young, you don't need to remember any of that. Going to join in a rock and roll band. Got to get back to the land and set my soul free. And this is the part that's Christmas. We are stardust. We are golden. We are billion-year-old carbon. We are lost in the devil's bargain. And we've got to get ourselves back to the garden. Well, I can't top Joni Mitchell. So, Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for sharing this evening with us.